been a slow but gradual process of the MAGA movement to eliminate not just laws, but they also want to attack the education. Now remember, if you get rid of the information, then you could truly impact people. Axios published an article titled America Stares Down the Erasure of Black History in Progress, which examines the unprecedented rollback of civil rights advancements. Managing editor Delano Massey joins us from Atlanta. Delano, glad to have you here. And just take folks through how widespread this is. I've been saying for months that MAGA wants to defund Black America, that they're attacking every aspect of Black America. Walk folks through what you laid out in your story.
Yeah, Roland, thank you for having me on to have the opportunity to talk about this. This is something that I think a lot of people have been watching since the beginning of this year, probably in the last 8 months. But Onyx Impact actually was able to quantify it, and they took the things that we might have been talking about anecdotally, and they put this all in one place. So we were able to see that there are certainly cuts that have been happening to HBCUs and minority institutions, to the tune of $3.4 billion. And it breaks down in different things, including research and data sets. So what they looked at was some of the cuts that were made to sickle cell. And as you know, that disproportionately affects Black people. We also noted in there that, Black maternity, mortality, Black men in cancer research. So those were some of the things that were eliminated. 591 authors that were mostly Black. And you have people like Toni Morrison or Ibram, whose books have been routinely listed as being blackballed or being on those lists, and to a record number of books that have been banned. Looking at minority businesses and the effects of unemployment, especially as it pertains to Black women. So what we tried to do is look at this full report and then break that down so that people could really understand the things that have happened systemically over the last several months.
And now, one of the things that really jumps out, again, the attacks on books, education, what's happening in the Pentagon, how they've been getting rid of all of these Black book authors. And again, I keep saying, go back to George Floyd, the death of George Floyd. And they said we're going to attack Black Lives Matter in 2021. It was woke in 2022. It was CRT. 2023, it was woke. 2024 is DEI. And so what you are seeing this constant attack on Blackness in every aspect whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, this is ultimately what the researchers with Onyx Impact had discovered. Some of the things that we know sort of anecdotally that have been happening, the push to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and programming, whether it was in the schools, whether it was in federal businesses, the museums, et cetera. They were able to basically to pinpoint that some of this has been the weaponization of DEI, similar to woke, and as you mentioned, critical race theory or CRT, using this as a political chip and basically making people believe that this is it's a dirty thing, or there's an unfair advantage that actually comes with this. And that was actually one of the things that the White House had pointed out when I reached out to them on this article. They feel as though they've been doing a number of things that have actually leveled the playing field and eliminated an unfair advantage that they perceive DEI has given, especially as it pertains to minorities.
So when you look at this and your story sort of lays it out, and I keep just yelling for people, this is massive. This is comprehensive. This is not just, one or two things. This is a wholesale attack on Black America.
Yeah. If one of the researchers that was involved in this was Maya Wiley of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. They also released a poll last month that basically taps into people's emotions and how they're feeling in this particular moment. That over 57% of people, I believe, think that there's a chance for there to be a civil war. That people feel like that this idea that there is reverse discrimination, that's actually not really true, right? There are things that I think that researchers and historians would say that there is a very systemic and a targeted approach to a lot of this that dismantles a lot of the infrastructure or the scaffolding that was created, especially during the civil rights movement, where you had some progress, and it eliminates some of the things that we saw, even in aggressive manner. We did a story earlier this year. You mentioned George Floyd, but after we're looking at this 5 years later, was this actually a reckoning, or was this more a reaction to a particular moment in the racial unrest that we saw? A lot of the things that happened in that time frame, including some of the companies, Fortune 500 companies, a lot of them have already eliminated some of this, and we saw that over the last couple of years. So certainly the researchers and the historians feel like this is this is certainly a moment where it is very intentional and it is targeted, and that's exactly what the Onyx Impact Report puts out there.
Questions from a panel. Cameron, you first. Cameron, turn your mic on. Cameron, turn your mic on.
Good.
I don't know why I gotta keep
Roland.
reminding all y'all. Damn.
Later, man. It's good seeing you, man, and good to read your story. Like I said, your story was eye opening and caused me to kind of even continue to dive a little bit deeper into some of this. But the most important thing I think that you touched upon was the erasure and the removal of so much data. And I think what people don't realize is that when they hear reports about how Black progress may be stopped, when you start talking about the sickle cell and all the different health reporting, so much data is being taken off these websites. And I think you mentioned in the report, not all of it has been replaced. Did any of your reporting come out like, is there any recourse for organization and watchdog groups and so many others to be able to get back the data on the reporting of, I would say, the overall state of Black folks, of Black economics, Black health, all those different things? Like, what do we do to be able to capture that data and make sure we're able to, it's put back out there for the public?
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge, right? This is the concern that that certainly the researchers have, because if that data is not there, then it's almost like it didn't exist, and it also it makes it a whole lot more challenging to be able to find remedies to certain issues, right? Like sickle cell or maternal health. This is like one of the greatest concerns, especially with the reporting and the people that I've talked to. Just not really knowing what this full impact is going to be of all of these different cuts. And there are some things that the media attention certainly helps to reverse course. And we saw that with some of the history that was mentioned on there. We saw Arlington Cemetery being one of the places where they removed some of the history, whether it was Jackie Robinson and others. Like, we wanted to, the media has put more of a focus on that. And sometimes I think that's maybe the greatest recourse. Somebody who hears about it can actually take action and figure out a way that they can solve it. But, it's certainly not going to come from the federal government at the moment that they've decided that they've eliminated that funding.
Thelma. Thelma, is your mic on? Man, y'all gonna keep these microphones on. I keep telling
We millennials. We only.
Hey, I don't want, listen,
Hey.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you right now.
What's that mean?
Hey, now I'm gonna tell you right now. Henry, remember this. We were in Atlanta, and there was a judge here, and she had a staffer who was millennial, and she was like, Judge, why you always dogging millennials? Cause y'all do millennial shit.
Yeah.
So millennials and Gen Z, listen, damn it, I'm Gen X, and turn the damn microphone on. Now go ahead and ask your question, Delano.
Hi, Delano. One of the questions that I have, because as of recent, I have been diving more into the history of our people as far as in the legal aspect of it all. I know there's a location, one specific, the Equal Justice Initiative Museum, that when I went, it blew my mind. And I've been back more than one time. And I was just mind blown because a lot of the history that was in there, I didn't see that in the school system. I didn't see that taught to us when, of course, we have our traditional Black History Month. And I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't know my history the way that I thought that I did. So with that, do you think with locations such as Equal Justice Initiative or any other organization can be utilized to retain such sensitive data that is going to be needed based on the destruction of this administration that got 3 more years? And I know in 3 more years, it can wipe out everything.
There's I think a very wise person once said to me that innovation sometimes comes from necessity. And what we know in this particular moment, and some of the people that I've talked to, certainly some of the civil rights organization leaders and others, you mentioned that museum in Atlanta. I certainly think that the museum on civil and human rights is great. It just reopened recently and they've renovated it. I think there are a lot of entities and also people who understand the importance of doing the work and making sure that we capture it, and making sure that we capture our history, and that we're able to sort of retell our history. Because one thing that's clear throughout the course of history is that that ultimately it winds up being left to each generation to figure out how they're going to retell some of these stories. Because even in the case of news and the media, it is harder in a lot of ways to get those stories told, which was one of the things that was supposed to have been an outcome of the 2020 reckoning, if you will. And so being able to actually be the ones to tell the story and to pass that down, I mean, ultimately, that's why you have griots and people who pass that information down generationally. But there are museums that are here. We have people who are trying to conduct this work and trying to capture a lot of this information right now because they know the importance, and they're also very much worried about the very real possibility that information might not be available.
All right, then. Well, listen, our whole point here is to inform folk, let them know what's going on so they can be aware. And I'm telling you, I need our people to realize they cannot be asleep at any of this. And so, Delano, great reporting there. Folks, go to Axios.com to check out Delano's report. Also, we'll link to Keenan. You know you watch it. We'll be sure to put a link to Delano's story on BlackStarNetwork.com. And so, folks, if you go to BlackStarNetwork.com, you'll be able to see Delano's story, click through it to actually read his story. Delano, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.